Good. We are back here now at the Swilers Rugby Complex in St. John's, Newfoundland, Dell's Field. Tim Powers with Paddy Daly for the big home match of the night, the Atlantic Rock against the Prairie Blizzard. Lots of fans here in the stadium anticipating a big start by the Rock. Paddy, what are you looking at for in this game?
Well, right off the bat, I'm familiar with these guys.
Yeah, your
my
son,
young fellow
yeah.
was in the side for years until he went off to focus on his varsity career. But look, when you're playing at home, this core group has been focusing on the CRC U19 Nationals for years. Of course, every year and every age group is a big deal, but the U19s is really the hallmark championship. These boys have been looking forward to it. Playing in front of the home team, you can indeed get that additional boost from the local support, which should be fairly raucous when this one gets going. But can you keep your emotions in check?
Yeah.
The controlled aggression is going to be, I think, telling early on. Now, they've got some real good field generals out there. Look no further than the out half being Campbell Clark, who's got some international exposure as a member of Canada's U18 team. Stellar player. They've got a lot of guys who will probably be able to rein in some of the more emotional players. The Prairie Blizzard, they're a team that is going to bring some great emotion and pride, but the cohesion is probably going to be missing given the fact they don't play together, really just getting to know each other, so they've got a lot to bite off when they face the Rock here tonight.
They do indeed, and we're about to kick off. The aforementioned Campbell Clark, of course, his father Dennis, a Canadian international, played lots of rugby here. Campbell with the kick. Taken by the Prairie Blizzard, up fast, Newfoundland, or the Atlantic Rock, I should say. Paddy and I will make that mistake because they did start as the Newfoundland Rock. Prairies get it out, but the the Atlantic Rock defense is up again. Blizzard will not want to keep that ball. Ooh, poorly timed kick picked up by number 12. Is that Alex Hickman for?
Hickman in the centers. Hickman and Alex Clark are going to be the centers for Newfoundland, two strong players. Alex is after he's just returned from New Zealand, where he's been training for 6 months in Christchurch, so we'll see what that level of training has brought to Alex's game, which is already very strong. He's a super aggressive player as well.
And he's been one of our Canada under-18 players. Lots of players in the Atlantic roster who have done well with Canada recently. And, of course, Michael McCarthy, we'll talk about him a lot tonight as Alex Hickman takes a good run down the side, taken down by three Blizzard players. Newfoundland keeps the ball. Back out again, the scrum half, Seth Bryant. Newfoundland looking for that early score. These games are only 60 minutes, as we said earlier. They want to put the ball in as fast as they can. They're well organized. Campbell Clark, little chip. Interesting play. He's going to have to touch it down. 5 meters, 22 dropout. Yep, 22 dropout. Penalty. Sorry, did not see that. Some sort of penalty. What will Newfoundland do? Probably go for the early points.
Which explains why Clark would go for that up and under with so many numbers in place. See if he can get a cutie on the board. Take advantage while playing the advantage.
So, again, you got to think strategy here. The Atlantic Rock are going to want to get the bonus point. Ontario, their main opponent, we believe, just won their game, got bonus points, scored nearly 60 points. The Rock want that bonus point because in the end, if they do face each other, every point is going to matter. Strange things can happen at the end of a tournament, though this is just the beginning for the Rock and for the Blizzard. Campbell Clark lining up the shot. Looks relatively easy, but no kick in rugby is as easy as it looks.
Generally an easy decision early on in the game when you get a pretty straightforward penalty to take the points. Clark is very, very solid with the boot. And this is one that he should take care of quite simply and quite easily.
Yep, and he does that. 3-0.
Clark's a kid we would take the boys on tour. We were in Ireland one night playing in a very wet field and the rain was streaming down. I believe we were at Blackrock College, one of the top private schools. Campbell decides to go for goal from about 40 meters. Some of the Irish parents on side of me saying, who does he think he is? What does he think he's doing? I quietly just stood by and watched as Campbell struck one pure and split the uprights to put the points on the board. So Campbell's got a long tradition of taking on the kicks.
Nice kick by the Prairie Blizzard scrum half, I believe, taken by number 5 of the.
Safe Sanad. He's going to be a strong player in the for the lock position here today.
There they go again. The Rock, you're going to see a lot of this running rugby. It is more common in the sport now, which is great. Campbell Clark picks a spot. Nice little grubber kick, putting the Blizzard under pressure.
Well weighted and
Poorly handled by the fullback of the Prairie Blizzard, Freddie Vargas. Probably wishing he was in Vegas and with a name like Vargas. Of course, not making fun of his family name. If his parents are watching, just having a little bit of fun. He will want that playback, though.
Here comes Rock with their first set piece in a line-out, and Mick McCarthy, who just returned from the under-20s, was perfect in the line-outs with his throws in that international tournament. So that's
and a perfect throw there off to Alex Hickman into the hooker. That's
Hunter Barnaby.
Hunter Barnaby. Out again, well distributed. Out again. Look at that. That's what Newfoundland, the Atlantic Rock wanted. Number 15.
Fullback is Laurie Baldwin. Laurie Baldwin, you'll see him when he gets in full stride. He's a real speedster, but he just showed off some of the deft moves there in close quarters. Good start for the Rock.
Yes, talk about those McCarthys. They're getting a name for themselves in Canadian rugby. Michael's cousin Jack is a very good player. Just finished up at St. Avex. He has been in the different Canadian programs. He's a great winger. He's played some sevens, as I say. He's played age grade representative. And Michael making a name for himself. He was having an interesting conversation the other night, Patty, with Jamie Cudmore, the new Pacific Pride coach, which is the Canadian development team. A hooker who can throw and a hooker who can play in the loose has a good future in Canadian rugby. Michael's only young, but he's got a shot.
Multi-sport player. I mean, he was a tremendous hockey player, ran into some injury troubles, but he's changed his body style. Here's Clarkie now to try to make the convert. Well struck. Pulled it a little bit left.
Hits the post.
So young McCarthy's kind of changed his body shape, and of course his father, Mark, big part of the rugby community here. So not only can he throw the ball in from the lineouts, but he's got good feet, he's got good hands, a good head for the game. He's absolutely as aggressive as is required to play that position. So he's a player to keep your eye on, no question, and a nice young man.
Yeah, a lot of these players on all the teams are good young men. And what's one of the things about rugby, we like 8-0 with 5.5 minutes gone. The Rock getting the start that they want. The Blizzard will not like this. Kick did not go 10 yards. The Rock will take the scrum, no doubt, at center field. Or what is going on here? Oh, it was knocked on by the Rock player. Did take it. Sorry, my bad there. They're going to have a scrum. Takes the scrum. That's a bit of nerves by the Rock lock. Sanat?
Big, strong boy. You'll see him cover
strong.
A lot of territory here this afternoon. We're absolutely strong in the second row with the two second-row players. The locks are going to be featured again for the Rock to see a lot of opportunity to set the stage here with the forwards. I think we've got some strong players. We'll see how the Blizzard match up. Given the fact they don't practice and play together very often, these set pieces are a big ask.
Yeah, the point about the Blizzard, for the people that are watching, we talked about it in the earlier game, but if you're just tuning in, the Blizzard haven't practiced. The first time they practiced together is when they got to Newfoundland on Saturday. That's hard when you're playing a team like the Rock, who, as Patty suggested, have played in Ireland. They played all over the world. A lot of these kids have been playing together for 4 or 5 years. It's a tough ask, but never underestimate these teams from the Prairies. They're made of tough stuff out there, and they won't give in easily.
And the pride of a rugby player is going to shine through regardless.
Doing all right in this scrum.
Well controlled.
They've got some good athletes in the Blizzard.
That's good tackle there from Clark, holding on. Bit of a shoestringer, nice clean out. Quick to the ruck there. And there's Sanat, who's going to be a beast. That's one place where you're going to see him show his medal today, is at the breakdown.
And the Blizzard not giving up, moving the ball up the field. Their first sort of sortie into the Rock offensive zone.
Rock a little bit quick on
and
the
they've got an
line
advantage.
There.
They've got an advantage. Can they take advantage now? I wouldn't necessarily run that ball, young man. Probably get some field position there.
The Rock, watch Ontario be quick on defense, maybe a little bit too aggressive there. We're over the gain line before it was time. They're going to go for the goal.
That's ambitious. That's ambitious. Good for them. I mean, it is close. It's still 8-0. We're only 7.5 minutes into the game. See who ends up taking the kick here. It looks like it'll be the scrum half, Andre Jarek. Again, apologize if I'm not getting those names right. We haven't had a lot of time to work on the phonetic aspect of this. We got to quickly talk about this. For those of you who can't see this in the screen, but the Newfoundland coaching staff has the most hideous tracksuits, all white. I mean, you might wear that on open line just to shock people. I'm not sure I'd wear that out on this field, but hey, whatever, being a bit brave.
Those tracksuits belong on a Danny Dunphy pitch, not on the sidelines of a pitch at a national championship. Who is going to line up to take this
I think
kick
it is.
on behalf
Is it
of-
number? Is it the scrum half? I believe it is, and that is Andre Grecki, Jeriak. I can't again get his name. I will get his name right.
That's
Nope.
not going to make the distance.
No.
And it was the number 9. He's one of the South Africans
That's right.
who was part of the Prairie Blizzard. This is a group that only formed in 2017, so still getting off the ground with some of the organizational structure, but certainly proud to have them here at the U19s. And now the Rock will restart, ball in the hand of number 10, Campbell Clark.
Right. Campbell Clark with the 22 dropout. Taken by number 12 on the Prairie Blizzard. Thrown back out by the winger. Out again. Not bad hands for a team that hasn't been together that long. Oh, the fly half with a little bit of a run. Gets it out to the flanker. Who?
Nice offload, nice
Yeah.
catch, despite being very flat in attack.
Yeah.
Gaining some meters here. The Rock are going to have to shore up.
And
that
for a team
component.
that hasn't been together, that's what matters. How you start. For
Yep.
any team, it matters. But you want to build confidence. Oh, penalty to the Rock. Looked like a illegal hit by one of the Prairie Blizzard. The Rock will welcome that. They were taken aback, I think, then by the effort of the Blizzard, their first big offensive play there. We've got to thank our sponsors here as we're waiting to go again. Of course, we've got Government of Newfoundland, Marco, Keith Bradbury, Remax, Modern Business, Gatheralls, Puffin, and Whale Watching, all fine companies. We appreciate their support.
And of course, you're watching live on Channel 1 on Vibe TV 1.
Yeah, we cannot forget that. Glad to be on TV. We in the rugby world welcome more exposure for our game. It's an exciting time for our game. Professional rugby, the Rugby World Cup coming up, the Olympics next year. Newfoundland wins the scrum. Taken by Alex Hickman. Big run by him. He's a player to watch tonight. Hasn't had an opportunity yet, but we expect big things from him this evening. What happened there? Looks again like a knock on. It's going to be the Blizzard scrum. They'll be happy with this. We're 10.5 minutes into the game. Though the Rock have 8 points, they don't fully have the fluid rhythm they would like. And they will be thinking about what Ontario did, scoring nearly 60 points. They will want to match that because each is putting a marker down this evening.
It's one of those intangibles. They saw Ontario look extremely solid in the opening match against Quebec today. That will undoubtedly play in the psyche of the Rock. They want to show that they've got the same or the similar kind of stuff because they do see themselves in Ontario playing for the title.
Garrett got the ball out. Oh, that Rock defense is up quickly as well. Good cover there. Good cover by... Out again. Big flanker. He's been in a few plays. Number 7 for the Blizzard. Dean Mason. Yeah, we've heard some things about Mason. He's apparently a pretty good athlete. One of the players to watch on this team. Coach is very high on Mason. Looks like a confident player. Number 5, the second row, Cam Marchand with a not a bad run. Marchand, of course, a great hockey name. We know about those Marchands in hockey. They're tough buggers.
Hey, you mentioned Mason. He's one of the leadership group here, been
That's
involved
right.
with the Blizzard right since the inaugural season in 2017.
Yeah, this team, as you say, is only 2 years old. There, the hooker, number 2, Jesse Murat, with a strong run there. A bit slow there in getting that ball out. One of the things about rugby now, and you look at teams like New Zealand, obviously the pinnacle of great teams, is how quick you get the ball out and how quick the ball moves. If you can't move it quickly, you're going to have trouble with offensive plays. Blizzard taking the ball, going into a Rock there. Out again, Newfoundland up, not quite offside there. Fly half, taking a bit of a run. Blizzard playing a very tight game, maybe befitting some of the bigger players they have on the team. They don't want to run against Newfoundland, but Newfoundland gets a penalty, or the Atlantic Rock. Again,
Playing the ball on the ground.
Yep. They maybe want to try and reassert some control here. They look a little bit nervous, which is not unusual when you're the home team and it's your tournament and people have high expectations. They've got to work through that now. Campbell Clark will get them some field possession where they can launch a platform from the lineout. Nice kick by
Excellent
Clark.
kick. Surefire way to just take a deep breath here, is to try to put together some phases here off of this set piece. You know you've got an undersized Prairie Blizzard team facing you, so maybe just try to take advantage of that before you're looking for a fancy highlight of the night offload or what have you. Reestablish what you think are your strengths right here off of this set play.
Well, and those throws by McCarthy, as you said earlier, are a strength. And again, beautiful throw, sets it up nicely, created options for his team. Hickman with the offload to the tight head prop. Hunter Barnaby, he big, strong fellow.
Quite the character too, is young Barnaby. Strong play from Piers Van Dislim, who's an excellent player.
Out again by Campbell Clark, nicely distributed, looking for that hole. He's lining himself up well. Clark goes in, like his father, unafraid of contact. His father, Dennis, well renowned for being a front-up, hard-running center. Had it some time at fly half. His son has become quite a good fly half. Blizzard have taken the ball.
Yeah, easy turnover.
Nice play. I mean, the Blizzard are staying in this game. They're not letting it get away from them. We're almost at the halfway mark of the first half.
They don't care who the favorites are. Yeah, well done. Good for them. Full marks.
For those of you, again, who are just tuning into this game, this is under 19 rules in play. So what that means, our halves are only 30 minutes as opposed to the regular 40, because these teams play 3 games this week. So we are just, as I say, coming up in the 15-minute mark of the first half. 8-0 for the Rock. They'll want to put the Blizzard under pressure here and see if they can manufacture another score. And the Blizzard will want to evacuate the area, destroy the pressure. Can they do it? Yeah, that's a good thing about the Blizzard. It's hard not to like this Blizzard team, given what we know about them. And just good for these kids for coming together, recognizing the challenge is steep. Lots of good leadership in the Prairies, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta. All good leaders in those provincial unions trying to grow the game and grow the athletes. So scrum collapse.
Little out of sync at the loose head side for both of these scrummaging units.
Oh, but the Blizzard will be happy with that.
No question. That's a big win to come away from that with the penalty. So the enthusiasm of the coaches, coaching goes a long way. The coaches can not only set the tone, but their attitude, their flair, their style, their love of the game can easily be felt in the players, and we're seeing that early on from the Blizzard.
And you and I will remember in the old Rugby Canada Super League for senior men, there used to be a team called the Prairie Fire. Carl Fix, a well-known Canadian rugby organizer and icon. There used to be some great rivalries between the Prairie Fire and the Newfoundland, when they were then the Newfoundland Rock. I believe they played in the Canadian finals a couple of times. So lots of rugby heritage in the Prairies. And when they put their mind to it, they're good athletes and good players.
They'll go long. He's well up.
Oh, almost taken, but not.
Sinat a little bit anchored to the floor there.
Here we go again.
Solid play at the ruck from the Blizzard. Well up part of the defense, and Piers very quick number 8.
Yeah, the one thing I criticize the Blizzard for, they're not much depth in their offensive play. And again, that's probably a consequence of not playing together. Good defense there by the Rock.
Piers over the ball, looking for the turnover. No.
Another penalty to the Blizzard. The penalty count is working in the Blizzard's favor. I believe they have 1, 3, or 4 penalties compared to one for the Rock.
Not rolling away, which is such a quick call these days in every level of rugby.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Nice kick.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, he almost said it. You could be.
I wasn't willing to sacrifice the body and die for that one.
No, not from the broadcast booth. It's not quite like the gondola at the Air Canada Centre. But we'll take it. It's a lovely spot. We've been well looked after here. Liam Moore and all the people at Newfoundland and Labrador Rugby done a great job putting on this tournament. Games are going to be on all week. Hope you'll watch them. 5TB, thank you for covering us tonight. Nice take. Again, McCarthy with a good ball. Picks it up himself. Makes some good yards.
Forward.
Oh, unfortunately.
Got to release that ball.
Some sloppy stuff. This is what you usually see at the beginning of a tournament. This is nerves. Most of these young men have very good hands. A lot of pressure, a lot of things happening. We saw a few knock-ons there. They're both going to want to clean this up fairly quickly.
McCarthy's going to want to recognize who's trying to take the ball away. If that's the scrum half or the out half, they're probably going to look to pass. When you see someone coming from a lock position, picking the ball up off a ruck with no real action at the breakdown, that's a pick and run. So McCarthy's got to release that ball.
Here we go again. Another scrum. Referees are going to be more vigilant. We see this. We talked about it earlier. important to get these scrums right. It's about health and safety. It's also about making sure it's a clean put in. Refs are much more diligent in this day and age than they were years ago. Before, you just go in and bang heads and do it. Now they want it right, and good for them. Getting that right sets up the proper platform, creates more offense. Here we go. Scrum half. Now, the only downside of this is you get too many whistles sometimes. Yep. Never enough penalties. It's almost as bad as the TMO. I'll go on that rant later on. Here we go. Again, we don't want the referee's doing his job. We want to make sure he doesn't become the centerpiece of this game. He hasn't been so far. It is important that he gets this right. Just feeling each other out. Prairie teams usually have pretty strong front rows. Lots of strong.
The tight head down again.
Yeah, there's something not working there. Either the field is slippery or the loose. Oh, nice play. Blizzard rucking there, looking to create an offense. You'll see, though, again, difference between teams like Ontario, Newfoundland, the Atlantic Rock, and the Blizzard. The Blizzard aren't realigning as quickly as the other teams. That slows down your offensive momentum, and that can limit your ability to win games. Scrum now to the Atlantic Rock. Scrum half for the Rock is Seth Bryant, looking to get his team organized.
Seth, a deceivingly good scrum half. Sometimes you look and say it doesn't look like much, but a very effective player. And you're talking about being ready to play and stepping up and being back in position if you're the Blizzard. Sometimes that's a result of not practicing and playing very much, but it's absolutely a result of watching versus playing, anticipating.
Should be Newfoundland ball. A little bit of a wheel going on there. Newfoundland want to get
the Iraq.
Yeah, they win the penalty. They will be happy with that. They still prefer a stable platform to start. You like to break off of that. Campbell Clark will look for field position here to set up another line out. They view that as an asset with a skilled player like McCarthy, and they certainly have some good backs to run off of. We haven't seen yet much from Alex Hickman. In fairness, he hasn't had the chance to run the ball. As you said, he was training in New Zealand. He's a big machine of a man, well regarded in the national community. I'm sure they would like to get him that ball.
And you got a lot of speed with Riley Cunningham on the wing. You've certainly got Laurie Baldwin with jets to spare out in the fullback position. So as much as we've got an undersized Prairie Blizzard team, still like to see the Rock kind of put some of their talents on display here versus a bit of a ragged start. There's young Mick McCarthy with the ball.
Yeah, he's into everything. So living up to his billing. Oh, ref missed that, or did he miss it? Yeah, Seth Bryant, a little bit of a knock on there. Again, the Rock having some trouble getting the momentum they want to start the game. I really do think that is nerves. Lots of their family here, lots of friends here, all watching them, all wanting them to do well.
It's a double-edged sword of playing at home.
Yep.
It's the additional support and wind in your sails, but it's that pressure which rears its ugly head when you see some of these little mistakes. McCarthy not releasing the ball at the Rock, taking your eye off the ball if you're the scrum half before you get it in hand and make a pass. So a lot of things to tighten up. Not necessarily the start they wanted.
No, and they can still put a lot of points on the board, and they are ahead. It is 8-0, but they will want that bonus point. Ontario got that bonus point. Bonus point, I believe, comes with 4 tries, as we were saying earlier. But they got to win the game first, and they are doing that.
Both sides struggling at the scrum.
Yeah, and they're going to need to correct. This young man's had a couple of big runs. Is that 7 again, or number 1? That was at the loose head.
That was the loose head, yeah.
That is Davin and Arnson.
It was a curious play, kind of a little shank on a grubber attempt. Down to ground is the center to pick it up.
That was accidental. Oh, no, he's calling the penalty there. Hickman coming over the top. You can see his strength, though, in leveling that young man. I think it was entirely accidental, but scrum. So the Blizzard obviously think they have an advantage. Oh, no, sorry. He looked like he was calling scrums going for touch. Okay.
But for Hickman there, it's that one was incidental, but you want to have your eyes up. Not only as a matter of safety, spearing with the head is not going to be tolerated. You're going to have to want to come in there with a little bit more care and control.
Yeah, they're going to want to get that right. Mustering the line out here again, the Blizzard. Interesting, the flanker, number 7. Matthew wrong team. Number 7, that's Mason. Dean Mason throwing the ball in. Actually, good throw. Nice hook over the top. thing that's starting to happen here now is the Blizzard build their confidence the longer they stay in this game, and that makes it tougher for any team. Blizzard feeling like they're making good progress up the field, getting more organized. Rock defense is solid. Held there. He's going to want to get out of the way, and he will. There you go. Interesting play call. Interesting play call. Number 14 chasing for the Prairie Fire, Luke Wilson. Good pickup by number 11 on the Rock, Riley Cunningham, as you've talked about. Bit of a speedster.
Well chased by the Blizzard.
Yeah, they're sensing opportunity. They are sensing opportunity. Blizzard sticking in it, I believe. Yeah, still there. Ball. Oh! The Rock will be grateful there, but the ball went back, so they get a chance again. Number 7, Mason, he's having a pretty good game. He's made a couple of big plays, makes some central runs. This loose head prop again. Davin Arneson, strong run. They sense the try line. Oh, Newfoundland turned it over. The Rock, Hickman there. Yeah, good clearing kick. Smart play. Smart play by the Rock. Clear that ball. Take some pressure off. You can tell he's been coached, that he's played at a higher level. If a player without sort of that level of coaching might have tried and had a longer run, he knew what to do to help his team out. Blizzard, though, not quitting, unrelenting. They are going to give it a go again here. They can figure out now if Mason understands the winds and the current over on that side of the field, or we're going to have a curveball. You people watching at home may think we're overstating that bit of Newfoundland lore, but it's not. It's unique winds here, and let's see, straight or a curveball? Is he going to do a Tim Wakefield knuckleball? That would be even more interesting. Look. Yep. There you go. Break by Newfoundland. Strong run there. McCarthy up again. That man is everywhere. Fierce in the loose. Jamie Cudmore's going to like to see that. Here they are. Newfoundland got to hold their head now, take advantage of that penalty, get some field position. Smart play. Campbell Clark taking control. You can see he's any out half that has the stride, you know they're confident. He's got the stride from a lot of games played. Of course, the guy with the biggest stride, and rightfully so, in Canadian rugby was Gareth Reeves, one of our World Rugby Hall of Famers. He would control a game exceptionally well. Campbell Clark learning to control games. Here comes McCarthy again. We're 25 minutes in, 4.5 before the halftime. The Rock will want to score here to boost their confidence. That's good. Nice little maul there that was moving forward. They're going to want to get that ball out before they get penalized. Blizzard coming up in defense. There's Hickman, strong runner. Keeping moving those legs, keeps moving those legs, gets the ball out. Rock up fast. Locke getting in on the play. Oh, nice play, and he scores. Number 4.
Conor McKinney, really, really solid. That was a full display of the type of power that he brings.
The Rock needed that. What was their dispute here? What? No, try.
Try is not given.
No, what
we'll
is?
Check in with the touch judge, but it looks like this one's coming back.
The Rock will then go back forcefully, no doubt, try and turn it in. Not sure what the penalty was. Again, we don't have the benefit of replay here, so wasn't sure what entirely had happened. We'll see if we can see the signal from here. I wonder if he double clutched and carried it over, perhaps.
A second move?
Yeah, second move. Don't know. It didn't look like that.
Not necessarily, not from here, but
you don't know. Crowd here wanting to cheer, wanting to get excited, wanting to see the local team amp it up a bit. But again, full credit to the Blizzard. They are not letting the Rock get ahead of this game. They are still in the game, heading to halftime. It's still anybody's game. And it's a penalty to the Blizzard. This is something they are going to be looking to take advantage of. They want to clear the ball themselves. See if they look to do that. We're 27 minutes into this game. Whoa, now we have a special guest here as we're towards the end. Let's just get that play. The Blizzard clear the ball in the line out. Now happy to be joined up here by the new coach of the Pacific Pride, which is Canada's national development team, and well-established Canadian international, Jamie Cudmore. Jamie, how are you?
Tim, very good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, glad to have you. You're evaluating these players effectively. They could end up in your program at some point. What do you think of this game so far and the one you saw earlier?
You're exactly right. I'm evaluating a lot of these guys who could be, who will be with me this year. Some maybe in the near future. And over the last few days, I've had the chance to work with a few of the squads, and seeing the talent on display today is very beneficial for myself and for the future of the program, because I think a lot of these guys will be with us in the coming years.
A lot of them are showing a lot of promise. I mean, that Ontario game was an interesting game. They have a strong back line.
Yeah.
Look well organized. They seem to play very effective defense. But you have to give it to this Prairie Blizzard team because, as you know, they've only just come together. And they're staying in this game with the Rock. There's no quit with them. When you see players play like that, what does that do for you as a coach when they seize that opportunity?
Well, that's what it's all about. You know, these kids are on the national stage here now, knowing that there are selectors from provinces and myself nationally around, and they step up.
Nice run.
There we go. Got a great run through.
Number 15 for the Rock, Laurie Baldwin. We were talking about him earlier. The Rock will be happy. They score. They will be a bit disappointed. Sorry, Jamie. Continue.
No, you're. Had a great break there, and that's it. These kids are seizing their opportunity, playing for their respective provinces, and knowing that there might be an opportunity for the future, whether it be in university, whether it be in the Pride program, or for their respective provinces. So, it's great to see.
You've been here before. You played in that magnificent game in 2006 when Canada qualified for the World Cup by beating the Americans 50-something or other. What are your impressions of rugby in this region? Obviously, that's the setup for you to knock that one out of the park and say how wonderful it is. But honest assessment of what you see on East Coast rugby, because you grew up on the West Coast, you played in British Columbia, you've played in France. Give us a sense of where rugby is and how it's developing in this part of the country based on your experience.
Well, definitely over the last 5 to 10 years, you can see, looking at the infrastructure here with the fields, with the high performance center next door, Dr. Parfian and the other people leading the club here at Swyler's and in Newfoundland have put an enormous amount of effort into putting everything at disposal for these guys, because the rugby public here is huge, extremely passionate. I was very lucky to be in Halifax a month ago to see the Eastern.
That's right, yeah.
Eastern Championships, and that was really good, because it showed the talent that's out here, the people who are extremely passionate about the game, and yes, I am from the West Coast, but the country's got talent everywhere, and it's important that we make sure we capitalize on that.
And capitalizing the Rock are, it is 15-0. We are at the halftime mark, but we're going to talk to Jamie a bit more here. I mean, when you started playing, you were part of that original Pride program. Yep. There weren't as many opportunities as there are now for rugby players. You had a great professional career overseas in Wales and in France, but if you're a young athlete now and you're looking at the sport of rugby in Canada, it's dramatically changed, hasn't it? I mean, we have professional rugby, Olympic rugby. Talk a little bit about that for people who are watching the game and who are thinking about this sport.
Yeah, definitely. There's countless avenues these days for young up-and-coming rugby players. You look at varsity level sports to go to university and get a great education and also play rugby. You've got the Major League Rugby now in the States, 2 years on, and that's a great avenue for kids to aspire to. There's definitely Europe, which is always a possibility for guys who fit the different professional teams' needs. So there's opportunities there, and and even playing for your club and definitely your province, like we're seeing here. There's a lot more avenues than there was in the past. So that's hugely positive, and creates a bigger player pool for us, a lot more guys to pick on, and with that grassroots moving up, all these guys playing at a high level, it just makes rugby stronger across the country.
Now, before I let you go, because you're poor man, you're also here trying to have a bit of vacation as well, because your family, you have family, your wife is from Newfoundland and Labrador, and you're here with your kids, and that's wonderful that you're giving so much time to rugby. But give the audience your take on The World Cup's coming up. Canada's in a really tough group. We've got New Zealand, we've got South Africa, we've got Italy and Namibia. I think Kingsley Jones, the head coach, has talked about we have the potential to win 2 games. Talk about that, what you think we need to look for heading into the World Cup and what's possible.
Well, for me, everything's possible, and I definitely think we have the structures and talent to win at least 2 games. We ran New Zealand very, very close in New Zealand over 8 years ago. So the talent's there. We just need to be very well structured, keep the ball at pace, because when we get some speed on the ball, we've got some guys that can really make a difference. If we see what we saw over the last few weeks, where it's very kind of pedantic and slow, and guys struggling to get over the gain line, well, it's going to be very difficult, like for any team. But there's definitely a lot of positives there, and Kingsley's working very hard with his staff and his group to get the guys firing and to be well oiled for September. So I wish them all the best, and I hope to see at least 2, why not 3 victories in Japan.
Oh, it'd be great if we beat South Africa or Japan did it in
Japan
the last
did it,
World
yeah.
Cup, and that was such a big moment for Japanese rugby. And
Definitely.
we used to beat Japan fairly regularly. So anything is possible. Anyway, thank you for your time. I know you got to go back down. Great to have you here. Great to have you in Newfoundland and Labrador. I know the community's delighted that you're part of it all.
Well, we're happy to be here. Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, we'll take a quick break here now. It is 15-0 for the Atlantic Rock. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes for the second half of the CRC Game 2. All right, we are back here at Swiler's Rugby pitch, the Adels Field. Halftime, 15-0 for the Atlantic Rock. Great to have Jamie Cudmore come up and join us. Patty, what did you see in that first half that left an impression with you?
It's a little bit of a ragged start. I was expecting a little bit more in the middle from the centres. Maybe not the kind of chemistry required between Hickman and Clark to really make that difference like we saw from Ontario. But, between Densmore and the Prairie boys, talk the boys back down. No more of these silly ball handling errors. Get the scrummages right, and they're in good stead.
They will want to get to those bonus points. Just a reminder, to get bonus points, you need 4 tries. A 30-minute half coming up here. The Prairie Blizzard are kicking off. And again, full credit to them. They have, for a team that has only just recently got together, they are playing very well, holding a tough team to. Oh, no! Oh! Is that a score? Yeah. Did he give it? Yes. Wow. Or was it a knock on? No, he is given the score. Now,
ball was off his foot, so that ball was live.
Yes. Oh, no, he's talking to his touch judge. Again, maybe this is where TMO is good. I hate TMO because it slows down the game, but maybe it's helpful. Yes, he's given the try. This is not what the Rock wanted. They have let the Blizzard gain a little bit more confidence. That was number 14. I think he's been Luke Wilson. We've called his name a few times. Nice run, nice kick. I mean, the benefit of being a team like the Blizzard is you can be fearless. You have nothing to lose.
Absolutely right. And you know full well that the members of the Rock that watch Ontario execute at such a high level felt that if they're going to show the Blues that they're in that type of league with them, there was a bit of pressure on their shoulders here today. Receiving a ball in the air, like every other sport we're catching is part of it. Running into it is much easier than having to backpedal on a ball. Always give yourself a couple of strides break here before you're committed, and then looking as the ball sails over your head like we just saw happen there.
The Blizzard looking to convert this kick. Again, it's the scrum half, Andre Gariak. As Patty said, South African ancestry, so likely knows the game of rugby quite well.
As we see, South Africa look fantastic on the international side.
Oh, we were talking with Jamie about this. Canada's got a tough pool in the World Cup. South Africa, New Zealand, and then Italy and Namibia. Two of those games will be certainly very, very tough. Little short there, Gariak. He won't fret that too much because they'll be happy with that try. 15-5 here early in the second half. That was scored within less than 2 minutes. That's the way you always want to start. Rock need to regroup here. They need to show that they have control of this game. Campbell Clark will want to make sure he puts a kick up that his team takes and can build off of that.
Want to be a little bit more direct and assertive here if you're the Rock, as opposed to what has looked to be
tentative.
Some uncertainty has popped up.
Oh, again, not the start they wanted off. Somebody, McKinney's knee, maybe. I think there was somebody's knee. It looked like. Oh, Blizzard make a mistake there. Drop ball. Newfoundland or Atlantic. No, scrum to the Blizzard.
They're going back, I guess.
To that knock on the kickoff. Yeah, on the kickoff. Somebody down, number 5, I think, is it? Seth. No,
Sanad.
Safe Sanad down there, but he's back up. Tough young man. Scrum here. Blizzard ball.
One of the guys that looks like they're really missing there in the second row, one of the locks, is Evan McKenzie, who's a tremendous young player, brings a lot of experience, fantastic in the air, committed physically. Maybe looking like Evan is someone they're missing. I understand he's suffering a slight muscle pull. Remains to be seen his status for the remainder of the week.
Yeah, it's a long week, as we said. This is the first game for each of these teams tonight. They all have 3. Winner determined on Thursday after all the games are played. Prairie is fighting back. The fullback, number 15, gives a good go there. He's got the ball down on the ground.
Nice
Freddie
footwork.
Vargas starting to get some confidence, the Blizzard. Reorganizing well. Still a little close in their setup.
The ball
knocked
away,
on.
turnover here. Referee played advantage, and there's Big Sanad once again. Need to get there for support.
Made a change at scrum half there. Number 21, Josh Blanks in there. Of the Blanks family?
Of the Blanks family, I believe so, yes. Simon, of course, is a fixture as a coach here locally.
And Dean Blanks, long-time outside half for the Rock.
Yep.
Blanks made huge contributions to Newfoundland Labrador rugby. Simon
I
stepped
believe
up.
Dean's here tonight.
Yeah, both done so much for the sport here. Simon been in our national coaching system. He's rugby director of rugby, and he's yelling quite passionately right now down on the sideline while videotaping the game. I'm sure young Josh will be getting tips after the game of what he could do and what he couldn't.
Drag down again at the loose head. Now, of course, I should go right to Dean Blanks, but the Blanks mentioned I just eyeballed Simon out of the corner of my eye. I immediately went to the Welsh side of the family to give
we often talk about the Irish connection to Newfoundland and Labrador rugby and rock rugby. Of course, Pat Parfrey, we've talked about Noel Brown, now Jack Hanratty, a big leader in this region in Nova Scotia, coach of the Rock. But long been strong Welsh infusion here. Morgan Lovell, of course, who is the executive director of the Swilers Club. All making strong contributions for the sport. Rock win the scrum. Much better play. Off to Josh Blanks. Didn't give his winger much room there. Matthew Chediak. Whoop. Safe again. Strong. I like that player. Blizzard, good defense. They're getting a little bit more confident. They're getting up there.
Fine up. Nice tackle.
Is that Hagen who has come in there? Number 6. Is Mike McCarthy? No, McCarthy's still there. Oh, there's Alex Hickman. Nice pass. Nice play. Will he score? Yes, he does.
He's there.
That's what they wanted to see.
That's a pretty try.
That's a handy professional pass by Alec Hickman. Knew what to do, didn't overrun it, found the winger, number 11, who is, of course, Cunningham, Riley Cunningham. They'll feel better about that, but they're going to want more of that now. The Rock are going to want to score 20 or 30 points here. They're now up 22-5, so they have 3 tries.
More substitutions here to come. Number 18 set to enter the match as Lee Brickman.
Look very focused there.
Getting final marching orders from Peter Densmore.
Densmore himself, of course, the former capped hooker for Canada. Done lots of coaching in these parts. It's good to see younger coaches moving up. So much of the time the system has been heavily built around Pat Parfrey. Full credit to him. He's helped develop lots of these coaches. You're hearing more Parfrey names. You talked about them earlier. Kevin, a former Canadian flanker, and Brendan, who was a stalwart for the Rock, now taking on coach leadership roles. That's what you got to do in this sport, grow opportunities. Campbell Clark, tough kick here, Patty.
This is a difficult one, needless to say, and of course on that side of the pitch is the unpredictable swirling wind. Of course, what everyone will think that's an exaggeration, providing an excuse for young Clark, but it is a tricky side of the pitch. See if Clark has it in him. Not the strike required.
He didn't get that North Atlantic gale that sometimes carries that ball in there. Didn't happen tonight. Now the Blizzard kicking back to the Rock. Garrick
it's a nice comeback from the Rock, though. You know, you give up that early try, you can easily be on the back foot, still look very confident, maybe even regardless of that mistake on the restart for the second half. That was a nice confident play coming upfield from the Rock. Little better idea there, giving yourself some stride into the ball. Now a nice run, a hard tackle.
This Cunningham, you're right. He's had a couple of good runs there. Not a big man. We have always had these Newfoundland wingers that are skinny, and he fits in that vein. Kieran Hearn, Paddy McNicholas, there have been bunches of them. Dave O'Keefe in the day. Oh, nice run. Campbell Clark releases that ball well.
But it used to be that we had the Burley play, maybe not the ball handling, but that's changing as years roll by.
Thomas Hagen on the field now as prop. He's also a hooker. He's had some time in the Canadian system. Very capable player in his own right. Looking to make a mark for himself.
A few stops and starts there. Want to make sure you continue to run north and south. Here comes the big lock dragging along some blizzards as he makes up some meaningful meters.
Oh, nice offload by Campbell Clark. There you see the experience of a guy who's played a lot of international matches. Off again to Hagen. Big run. He likes running with that ball. Legs still moving. Always coaching rugby to keep moving those legs. Josh Blanks, ball out to Campbell Clark.
Oh, that might be forward. It was awful close, if not.
Lucky none of us can see that. The ref didn't see it either. Good release of the ball. The Rock regained possession. Campbell Clark again. Out to Hickman. Let's see what he does with the ball this time. Nice. Does Cunningham have the speed?
Well
yes. So number 15, the fullback. Nice play. Laurie Baldwin.
Again. Attaboy Hickman. Nice heady play. Well weighted.
Oh, he looks like he took a hit, though. He's not looking happy out there now. Looks like he gets shoved after the play.
It's always the risk when you go to put the ball on your foot. You take your eye off the defender. They get a free lick at you. Hickman holding on to his ribs after a fine play. these are one of those games, as we all know, as we talked about player management. If you take a knock early, this is not the gold medal game. This won't decide the national champion. So if indeed you get one of your guys who you're going to have to lean on as the week proceeds, any significant knock is a good opportunity to filter in some of the boys on the sideline who are chomping at the bit.
Yeah, the Rock, always a knock against the Rock, not to turn that into a rhyme, is that there's depth shortage. We haven't seen any evidence of that yet. Mind you, we've only seen one sub, but always been issues of depth. We'll see as the game goes on if that is true, how long they leave in Campbell Clark, how long they leave in Alex Hickman or Michael McCarthy. You want to keep some of these key guys on, but they've got that bonus, all-important bonus point now that we've talked about. They have those 5 tries.
Clark's struggling a little bit here today with the boot, and I'm not suggesting that Alex Hickman should come right off, because the man is fearless and he really is a brute of a fella. And not to be the homer, trying all I can not to be, but that has been absolutely a knock on Newfoundland sides, is that you'd have 8, 9, 10 guys. Forget having a full 15. But after 15, when you play in these long tournaments, you need the depth on the bench from people who have the similar skill set, the similar impact on a game to be available. And it remains to be seen how the Rock manage their line, their side here for the rest of this second half.
Garrick with a kickoff, picked up again by a number of. He's had a good game.
Yep.
He's been in the play. I mean, one of the things that is changing, to the point about depth, and it's true around the country, you're now seeing minor rugby, mini rugby coming into play. They have a pretty good program here in Newfoundland. I know in the Prairies it's growing as well.
Penalty to the Rock.
Penalty to the Rock. They'll also want to take advantage of this. We are 41 minutes in. So the Rock have had 2 quick scores since the beginning of the second half, a better start. Again, 60-minute halves. We have 20 minutes to go, or 19 minutes to go here. The Rock still have lots of time to make a statement. Good kick by Campbell Clark. Nice place to set up a line-out. Inside, well inside the Blizzard zone. Blizzard now looking a little beaten at the moment, though don't want to say that too early. This team has not quit. Certainly lots of guys who want to make a name for themselves.
Another nice throw from McCarthy.
And that hasn't been the easiest place to throw, as we've seen. Hickman, again, looks to have no ill effects there. Nice line break. Oh, nice offload. These 2 locks, both locks have had pretty good games.
Look very good.
Not the biggest boys, but they get around the field. Campbell Clark out again to his center. Oh, nice inside pass. Josh Blanks. Oh, look. Excellent support running. Josh Blanks with the try. You can see the rhythm, much like you saw with Ontario, now starting to come. Maybe those early game jitters playing in front of the home crowd are starting to displace themselves now.
And some coaching right there, I think, is quite evident. You know, Clark, who has quite a hand at orchestrating the play, choreography on the field. Last time they didn't give the winger much opportunity. They had it nicely set up inside, a nice support run. There was Campbell with a perfect offload, and then go the Rock for yet another try. Lovely try.
30-5. Clark looking for his conversion. As you say, noted as a very good kicker. Good athlete. He's recruited well by Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, correct? And plays
hockey at St. Andrews.
Yep. Ooh, he's not having the day he would like when it comes to goal kicking. He's had some good kicking for touch. For another sub coming in for Newfoundland now, or the Rock again. I apologize. Zach Klassen, reserve going in there. One of the locks coming out.
Alex Wiscombe being taken out as well, so there's starting to be a bit of a rotation.
Connor McKinney coming out there. Yeah, time to do something. Now we'll test depth. Ellis Halliday in here as well. So a lot of forward substitutions being made, not unusual. These are hard games and forwards in particular.
Good catch, good run, another strong effort from Sinad.
Yeah, Sinad having a game for himself, arguably one of the better Rock players on the field tonight.
At this point, though, you know, even with the player management, with some of these rotations that we've seen, looks like you're going to see a little bit of a short, underwhelming up and under.
Yeah, well taken. That McKinney, Cunningham.
Yeah, Cunningham with a good break.
He's had a good game, too. He's had a couple of breaks. These brave, skinny Newfoundland wingers. In the vein of Kieran Hearn, who's done exceptionally well for himself in the Canadian World Cup squad yet again. Oh, Blizzard ball.
Saw Hearn play against Fiji on the weekend. I think winning somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 60 caps at this moment.
Yeah,
in time for
he's
his
crossed
country.
over. Yeah, that's right. He's one of our most capped. He's the third most capped Canadian back, I believe, or player. One or the other.
Really come a long way, especially when he started to get the nod to get some playing time.
Whoa, poor
with the London
communication there.
Irish. Well
Towards
picked up. Piers van Daslem, of course, playing some supporting role there, but communication is going to be key. That's a penalty to the Blizzard. Go back to play the knock on.
Yeah, the Rock will want to manage this well. Again, we're at the 45-minute mark, so 15 minutes left in the game. They're not going to want to give up a score here. They've been having a bit of a momentum build. They're going to want to continue that. They play Quebec tomorrow. They're going to want to go into that game feeling like they're getting things firing on all cylinders. Crowd here still quite large, still very engaged in this game. Going to be like that every night, I think, when the Rock play here. Great to see. Say well over 500 here. Garrick with the ball out to the fly half. Nice move. Good run by that fly half. He's not quitting. He's not the biggest man in the world, being held up by the Rock. Can he get the ball out? Held up. Rock ball. Be a scrum to the Rock. No, penalty to the Rock. We are, as I say, are in the final quarter of the game. Scrum coming up to the Rock. They will want to clear the ball here, look to create a scoring opportunity. 30-5 for them right now.
Number of substitutes across the front row for both teams. We'll see how they manage to organize this scrum, which struggled in the beginning. The Rock have had a couple of tight sets since, but with a lot of new players in there, we'll see how the referee can put them in place to have an effective, stable platform. So far, so good. So
yeah,
solid.
well, that's interesting play. They're going to run it out, trying to catch the Blizzard sleeping. Little grubber kick, gets touch anyway. Not a bad play. Showing they're prepared to be adventurous. Number 15, Laurie Baldwin. He's had a pretty good game for himself as well.
He put a little bit more distance on that one, gets to show off his speed a little bit more, maybe not the contact that he was looking for on the grubber.
Throw in for the Blizzard here, Dean Mason. He had a pretty good game in the first half. We haven't called his name much in the second. Maybe they're feeling it a little bit with fitness. It's hard when you don't get together to see what your levels of fitness are. They're not quitting, but they're not necessarily tearing up the park either.
Nice throw.
Good recovery by the Blizzard. Good tackle by Mike McCarthy. He's having a game for himself. Up. Campbell Clark up hard. You may hear the cheering of Pat Parfrey down there. Hard not to pick him up. Gets very passionate when he sees the Rock play.
I'm not so sure that was a cheer, all the same.
Well, it is a PG program now that we're on 5-1. Can't always reveal some of the more colorful language you hear at the Swilers Rugby Complex. Nice run.
Really quick feet.
Yeah, number 14, Chediak, Matthew Chediak. Again, I hope I'm getting that name right.
Yep, that's it.
Penalty to Newfoundland, or advantage to Newfoundland. Interesting play call. Hagen. Not sure I would have taken that short option, but I'm not Josh Blank, so I don't play anymore. Newfoundland won a run, the Atlantic Rock won a run. Getting a rhythm going, that's what this is about. Blanks out to Clark, Clark out to Hickman. Oh, Hickman's got an overlap on the other side. He probably didn't see that. Wasn't necessarily the call he may have wanted to make. But he likes contact, and you got to like a center that likes contact.
You have to clear the memory banks because it worked last time. Doesn't mean that this time was the right time to do it with the overlap of numbers absolutely in play. But
and that's the hard thing with any young player in any sport is learning to think about the options that you have, not just going back to muscle memory around what to do. And that's what happens in rugby as it does in hockey. Just because you crushed him one way last time, think of another option. Good observation. Another sub for Newfoundland.
Comes Andrew Shears.
Baldwin coming off.
No, that won't be Baldwin. No, Andrew will go in to play the wing, I'm going to guess.
No, that's Chediak, was it? I think it came off there. The other winger.
So Chediak replaced on the wing by Shears. Strong player, strong runner, absolutely determined to play north and south. I'm sure he's happy to get in and get a taste of action here in game one of the CRC U19 National Championships. Proud moment for him.
Fortunately, a player down there getting proper attention. In rugby, we take the time to make sure the player is properly cared for. Lots of high-end medical care here. Important to remind the audience, lots of rugby this week. 2 more games tomorrow. The Rock play Quebec at 7 o'clock, and then the Blizzard play Ontario at 5:30, and then the teams meet again on Thursday. Of course, if the weather holds in Newfoundland and Labrador or in St. John's, we have the regatta here Wednesday, which is a big event. If you're in Newfoundland and Labrador, or if you just like rugby, hopefully you will tune in and continue to take in these games. Penny and I want to thank our statistician, our man about town, Liam Warren, who's done everything for us this week. He's been great. He's put up that website.
And off comes Mick McCarthy.
Smart move, yeah, with about 10 minutes to go. Mick McCarthy's got a long tournament to go. You want to make sure he's properly managed. And, of course, Hagen can slot in there at hooker as well, I believe.
Yep.
So Newfoundland, the Rock, I'm sorry. It's hard when you're from Newfoundland and Labrador not to call the Rock Newfoundland and Labrador or Newfoundland. Important to recognize lots of players from the Atlantic here. Players still down there. Again, they're calling for some sort of medical assistance. We can't see the number of the player, but he is being well cared for. Can we see here? No.
We'll take the opportunity to thank our sponsors one more time. So the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, Marco, Bell TV 1 here, you're watching us on Vibe TV 1, is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called. Keith Bradbury, the Swilers Club, 360 Live, Modern Business Equipment, Gatherall's Boat Tours, and a long list of volunteers that deserve our congratulations and our gratitude. John Cowan, Liam Ward, of course, we've mentioned a couple of times, Morgan Lovell, Dr. Patrick Parfrey, Roxanne Butler, Sean Clancy, Stephen Gardner, and Carla Parfrey, who are generally the same cast of characters you see around all of these events and tournaments.
And what people don't appreciate, the strength of Canadian rugby, and there are lots of strengths in Canadian rugby, are the unions. The Newfoundland and Labrador Rugby Union is one of the strong unions in the country, always can be relied upon to host world-class events at this world-class facility. We're very lucky we have strong unions all across our country. They help these players come here. So what you're seeing now on the screen, this is standard in rugby when a player has been injured and it looks like the injury may take some time to be dealt with. The players move away from the circumstance. We have had medical personnel who've come on the field. The referee will make a determination because we do have an issue with light here this evening. We're 50. Clock is still running, but I believe the player was injured or play was called up around the 50-minute mark, so there's still 10 minutes to play in this game.
Only 15 minutes of light, I would
think.
think.
And unfortunately, the one thing the rugby complex doesn't have yet, but I'm sure they will soon, are lights. So we will see how it works and what the decision is here. But again, player welfare is of the utmost importance. In a circumstance like this, it's tough on both teams. Obviously, the concern is for the player that is down, but for the Rock, who are building a bit of momentum, they would like to continue the game. Blizzard now have a chance to regroup. As we've seen, they've not folded. I see they're bringing out backboard, and again, precautionary measures. We don't want to comment on anything related to the medical injury. We've first-class medical officials here, some of the best in the world. So whatever that player is dealing with, he will be dealt with well. No cause for concern, we hope.
It does give the teams, one team who had some momentum, another team on the back foot. But, the teams will rely on their leaders and the coaching staff to come out and reset them mentally for the final 10 minutes, regardless of the score and who's going to win, because it looks like the winner's been determined. It's just a matter of making sure that some of the things that maybe haven't been as polished, executed as sharp as you have wanted in the first 50, get a chance to make them right. Finish on a strong note, regardless of what side of the score line you're on.
Absolutely. And it's a build. It's a long week. Games tomorrow, as we said, games on Thursday, and actually there are games over the course of the weekend because they are playing some exhibition matches and other games. When all these players get together, it's a once-in-a-year opportunity to have this national tournament. It's been going on for a number of years. It's had different configurations, but top players want to play against top players, and they want to take the opportunity to prove themselves. As we said, we've got people like Jack Hanratty here. He's one of our national team coaches. Jamie Cudmore, we talked about earlier. Gethin Watts, Pat Parfrey, the U20 manager. Lots of these players want to put a marker down for growth, and we were talking about it with Jamie, Patty, but my God, Canadian rugby has changed a lot since the days when you and I were these guys' age. Professional rugby in North America now, the Toronto Arrows, Pat Parfrey from the Rock playing there, the Olympic opportunity that never existed before, that broader North American rugby, which I think there are 12 teams in and growing. If you're an athlete now and you're looking at a professional sport, and a sport that gives you opportunity, rugby has a lot more to offer than when we played.
There's a carrot at the end of the stick, and you're absolutely right, because the opportunities once were to get to play for your own club senior side and play for a local title. The Goodyear Cup, maybe the pinnacle when we were playing, but you're absolutely right. There's more coverage on television, more exposure to the big teams, more exposure to the other hemispheres and the caliber of play. The Toronto Arrows, which I think and I hope is going to have a really positive impact on the senior side, our international side too, because hopefully more and more Canadians will slot in there. More and more Canadians will consider continuing with the rugby career versus walking away in years past, where an awful lot of talented guys, they decide, well, it's enough is enough. I put my body on the line. This is the heap of the pile is playing some local club. Maybe not enough to keep some guys interested. That's all changing, and hopefully for the better.
Yeah, the Toronto Arrows, for those who don't know, and probably most of this audience does, but in the event they don't, Toronto Arrows leadership group, Bill Webb, one of the owners, Mark Winnicourt, Chris Silverthorne, Aaron Carpenter. They're a committed bunch. David Forche. They're just making an announcement here. I think they're trying to bringing an emergency vehicle in here. And again, we'll talk about that in a moment. But the Arrows making a huge difference in Canadian rugby. They have two stadiums at York University and Liberty in Toronto. They had a good fan base. They made the semifinals this year. Lots of Canadian players on their team. And kudos to the people who've made the investment. As you know, in any sport, professional, particularly new professional sports, it's not cheap to get in. And you don't necessarily, as an owner, make a significant return for any amount of time, if ever.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the rugby fan, and some people will still consider it a bit of a niche sport, but, there will be a lot of overlap and similarities between the fan base of Toronto FC, with their international flair and the focus and the understanding of the international scope of the sport. Maybe a good opportunity to market directly to them. They could be your first ticket-buying patrons. And, of course, Canadians do indeed love rugby. I think more and more we're going to have to understand that, and more, as, when you and I talk sometimes off air, and I might be critical of the senior side, the 15s, and where we're going from here. These are the types of steps you have to take to ensure that we get back to be a Tier 1 nation. And some of the great performances we've had in World Cups in the 90s and what have you, that are kind of thing of the past, but they can be part of the future.
Yeah, most certainly, and you can see. I mean, you talked about Kieran Hearn earlier, and of course the Canadian national senior men's team is playing in the Pacific Nations Cup. They've played 2 games already, lost to the U.S. and lost to Fiji. Play Tonga this weekend, but many of the players in that team now have MLR, as it's called, experience. Talking to the coaching staff in Fiji, though the games haven't been won yet, they're seeing progress. They're seeing a difference, because what would happen in the past without professional rugby and the Canadians that weren't in a professional rugby system, not everybody got Jamie Cudmore's opportunity.
Not everyone gets to play in France.
There would be a depletion of their play. Because it's like hockey. It's like anything else. If you're not playing at the highest level all the time and you're called upon with 3 months off to come back and play at the high level, no one should expect that you should be able to perform. And MLR is helping change that, and that's a good thing. Still waiting for the player to be properly, he's being properly treated there. They're taking their time, as is right. The referee's going to have to make a decision here soon, though, Patty, because, again, from a health and wellness perspective, as it gets dark, there is no ability to play. There are no lights here, so I wonder what the decision will be. We've probably got a latitude of another 10 or 15 minutes. There is about 10 minutes left in the game. So.
And as usual, it probably looks much brighter on your television screen than it actually is here with the naked eye. Once the iris of that camera's open up, it can pick up on a lot more light. Eventually, and it's not about being able to see the ball. There's just so many quick, close quarters plays to be made. If you don't have complete, well-lit vision on all sides, then you do kind of put the players in jeopardy. So I think you're right, Tim. The referee has a decision to make because the ambulance has just arrived, and we never want to see this. Rugby's a contact sport. The players, the coaches, their parents all know that. We hope that this young man is okay, but all precautions will indeed be taken. The health and safety of the players, first and foremost, as it rightfully should be. And now with the paramedics on hand, the first responders, the attention will turn to whether or not there's going to be any more play here in this second match of the CRC under-19s.
Yeah, as you say, we want to ensure the health and well-being.
That's the number one key. That's the issue right now.
And certainly all those players will be aware of that. They want to make sure their mate is fine, because one of the things that does remain true, even in rugby with the professionalism and everything else, is it's still a sport where you may play very hard against your opponent. It may be a tough match, but you care about the other guys. You care about the other players. And no doubt all of these players are thinking about this young man and wanting the best care for him.
The camaraderie is real. It's never just for show. A match dinner after a rugby game is unlike many other sports where some of the grievances and grudges are not necessarily left between the boards. I mean, hockey's a good one as well, but rugby never ceases to amaze me how you can lay it all on the line physically and play as rough a brand of sport that is available in this world, and that afterwards the handshakes are real, the camaraderie is real, the match dinner is a key feature, and I think that and that alone makes rugby a stand-alone sport. I mean, here we are. Jack played for years, and part of me wishes he was still in the side as opposed to off training to play volleyball. But here, myself and my wife, we're back. We're back volunteering because of what rugby had meant to us as a family. The opportunities afforded to Jack to travel around the world playing the sport, seeing the effort put forward by the Pat Parfreys and the Noel Browns. And one more time, I'd like to really congratulate and thank Dr. Noel Brown for all he's meant to rugby in this province, and recognised, rightfully so, this past weekend with the Chairman's Award. So you had those gentlemen, and then the late, great Frank Teesey, and the Blanks and the Lovels, and all the way down the line, what they do to keep the sport alive. And you have to think about this. We're calling the Newfoundland Rock, and it is indeed the Atlantic Rock. We used to take sides on the road, play against the Ontarios and the BCs, who were cowards and didn't show up to the under-19s this year. We take the teams on the road, selecting a side out of like 30 guys. There's only 30 guys available that even could potentially strap on the boots and go play. So, it's building in momentum around here. We're producing and punching above our weight with the number of players we're seeing getting exposed to the international scene, and being down to the under-18s in Phoenix and the under-20s in Brazil. So there's a lot of good things happening here locally with rugby.
Well, and you touched on it. The relationships last for life. Whether you've touched the game briefly or you've had a long period in the sport. And it's true in hockey. You're very involved in hockey. But rugby is pretty special that way. You'll see lots of people. I've had that experience. When you're in business with people and you have a long... The relationship began with the sport and stays all the way through. And the commitment of the parents is one thing, too. I mean, we were told a lot of the Blizzard parents came down here. Good on them. I hope they have a great time here in Newfoundland and Labrador. They travel with their kids. And you see that more now in nowadays, that people, the parents commit to it fully. And I can tell you from a Rugby Canada perspective, we appreciate that. You can never say thank you enough to the volunteers, the parents. We're still a sport that's looking to gain notoriety, and the time and effort and the money, it means a lot to all of us. So thank you for that. We're still waiting for, as we should be, they should take their time and get it right, the young man to be transported off the field. There appears to be some sort of conversation among referees and officials. That group in the middle there, you're just panning to it. The referees in the green are determining what to do next. I'm sure there is some rule that applies here. I know there are delay of game rules related to weather. No doubt there are some related to injury. There looks to be some discussion going on. We'll wait and see what the verdict is. Newfoundland or the Rock, are warming up on the side, and Quebec are chatting together to see when we will reconvene here. Again, the sunlight is not working in our favor. It's what time is it locally?
It's really quite dark here now, to be honest.
It's 8:15 locally. So it's
and with grey cloud cover doesn't
yeah.
make it any easier. And of course, as we discuss the different moving parts in the sport of rugby provincially and across the country, like you at home, we are very much fingers crossed, hoping that this young man, a member of the Prairie Blizzard, is going to be not only well taken care of, but we hope it's not a serious injury. You never know, because the precautions will make it appear like it is today, when they're going to certainly not going to rush the young fellow off the pitch, certainly not going to leave it up to some of the locals, the first responders, and their professionalism on hand here, and we'll see what happens to this young fellow. And if we have any information to share, we will. But of course, you want to respect the privacy of the player and his family too, if we're dealing with something that may be serious in nature.
Well, and you can see from here he's moving his arms, and there's certainly movement there. Again, we don't want to guess what is happening, but precaution is everything there. No, they're lifting him off the field, putting him on the stretcher. I'm sure we'll hear a big round of applause from the crowd and his teammates in a moment. And we will see if the game reconvenes. When the game was interrupted due to injury, we were about 50 minutes gone. Referee can let another 5 minutes go. I mean, I think we're past the point where the full 10 is required. It looks like touch judges are going back, or assistant referees are going back to their sideline. That would suggest that big clap for the injured player. So it appears the game will reconvene. The last medical personnel are going off the field. Referee, of course, is the ultimate arbiter. He can blow the game up as he sees fit at any time. But he certainly seems determined to be allowing some more play, and we will start again.
I've lost track of scores. Is it
30 to 5 for the Rock. They do have the bonus point, so they will be happy with that. The Blizzard probably have to be pleased, Patty. I mean, for a team, as we said, who just got together, this is a very respectable score. Makes their match against Quebec interesting tomorrow. Do they have, against Ontario? I mean, maybe they're starting to build a little bit of confidence.
Ontario will have stayed and watched. They probably would have been focusing on the boys in maroon or purple much more than the Prairie Blizzard tonight, but full marks to a team that has just come together, stuck it in there pretty confidently here today. They are indeed outclassed, but there's nothing to be ashamed of when you're a brand new squad. So, I mean, I think they'll take away some positives from today.
No doubt they will. Interesting. I assume that was related to what had happened over there. Alex Hickman has been given a yellow card. So the Rock are down to 14 players, which will put them under a little bit of pressure. Again, the light is going out. It's getting dark here. They do have a 30 to 5 lead. Was Hickman's? Yeah, all right. It's substitution now. Another substitution for the Rock. To number 22.
So Hickman was carded for.
Yeah, he was carded.
Okay.
He was carded. It's unfortunate, and not that we would expect it. That you can't hear what's going on with the referee. I know you're all just happy to see the game, and trust me, that light you see on the screen is not what it's like here. So when we were telling you that it's a bit dark, it actually is. Good take by Quebec. The Blizzard. Good take by them. Garnick with the ball out to his backs. Good, the new player makes a big hit. Caleb Chambers. Yeah, you can see a bit of rustiness now from the layoff. Drop balls and the like. Nerves. It's hard. It's hard when a game is stopped for that duration of time, though it should be stopped to get right back into it. Rugby is a big head game, too, so zoning back in is going to take a minute or two here for these players. I don't imagine they have much time left, but they need to zone in quickly. Fly half with a penalty clearing kick. The fly half for the Blizzard is Mikko Vorster. We haven't called his name much today. What do you think of this first time he's taken a penalty kick?
Too.
Good. Messy again. Another function of not playing. A messy lineup ball. With the Blizzard ball now goes back to the Rock. They have a scrum here, I believe. Again, the referee's got to be getting a little bit concerned, and I know he will act in the most appropriate manner, but it's darkening here. And we're about to have that scrum. It's Atlantic Rock put in. Josh Blanks has had a pretty good game since coming in. Scored a try, and he passed the ball well. Ball in, Rock ball, out. A little high that pass, but well caught. Rocker moving it up the field, looking to create opportunity. Got a big overlap on the left-hand left-hand side. I had to figure that out with my hands there. Again, Rocker are they going to kick, or they should manage the game here. Campbell Clark going to go for touch, play the clock a little down a little bit, making sure they're also going to want to be concerned about injuries, making sure nobody gets nicked now with a few minutes left in the game and the game in hand. Clark taking his time. He'll run the clock down as best he can. Gets touch. The interesting thing here, again, for people watching, they may not realize when you get touch here, if the ball's not back, it rolls down a hill, which is classic Canadian rugby. So it takes a few minutes, well, not quite a few minutes, but it takes a few extra seconds to get back up top. Local flavor, that's what you got to like about rugby.
Yeah, they've got some significant support staff on the far side because you are retrieving balls off the practice pitch, and there's Clark. They're calling it a day for young Campbell.
Yeah, that's smart. And they got a big game tomorrow against Quebec. You're going to want to manage your key players' time.
Campbell played well with ball in hand, but I think he's probably going to be a little bit disappointed with the kicking game today.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of them were very difficult and acute angles, but Clark is going to be one of the guys we're going to have to get maximum output from if we're going to contend with the likes of Ontario, given what I saw today.
Setting up a maul here. Oh, good. They'll like that. They'll want to have another run against Sav.
Big Sanad
having
defenders.
a great game. Arguably one of the best players for the Rock in this game. He's been in it the whole game. Always looked confident with the ball in hand. Ball coming out. Blanks again. 22, Chambers. He's had a good game since he's come in. He looks like a bit of a spark plug, trying to make an appeal to be a starter. And remember, the Rock are down one player at the moment. Oh, you don't want that. You got to be careful with that. The odd punch thrown in rugby is never a good thing. It happens from time to time, but nobody wants to get thrown out of this tournament for that.
It was pretty slappy versus close fist.
The ref
a little
seemed
bit
to
of
miss
emotion.
it too, which maybe not a terrible thing as long as no one was hurt.
It was just a little extracurricular after both gentlemen were on the floor.
Oh, the touch judge is out, though.
Yeah, it's time to just walk away. So we had a little forearm shiver thrown, or maybe some portion of a punch, and then grabbing at ankles. I'm not so sure there's anything there that constitutes any further action, but it is unnecessary and it should be avoided.
Yeah, and again, Hagen's a key player for these teams. You got to hold your discipline. In this tournament, nerves do get frayed. But you don't want to let your team down. Sometimes you got to take that little bump and move on with it. Big conversation going on here again. The Rock will be concerned, is there a card coming? And if there is, hopefully for them, it is only a yellow card. But clearly there's some discussion. Is he going for his pocket? The referee hasn't done so yet. Is he bringing the captain over? One would think. I don't know who the captain is now because McCarthy's off, Clark's off, and Hickman's off. So, nope. Gonna let it go.
He's calling both players in maybe just for a
little
reminder of the decorum.
The finer rules, yeah. So they're, oh my, yeah. Still debating what to do.
Something lost in the communication between the touch judge and the head referee in this match. It looks like there's not going to be much more to.
There can't be much more left in this game either.
Well, that's as opposed to going for his cards, he should be going for his whistle because this is really quite dim out here now.
Yeah, referees, he's doing the best they can, but need to be conscious of the time in the game, the time in the night, and the desire to make sure that there's some continuity in play. Oh my goodness!
Time to get this straight now, lads.
Yeah. They're having a long conversation there. Still going. Looks like yellow. Two yellows. 3 yellow. 4. 1, no.
Well,
yes, 4 yellow cards. Wow. Yeah, he put it around 4 times. That is fascinating. I don't think I've ever seen 4 yellow cards given out in a game. Yes, 2 here, 1 there. I thought there was a 4th.
It looked like there was 4 flashed. Young Lucas Shortle, who
anyway.
just stepped on the pitch. A very brief session for Lucas Shortle, as he's now binned.
So the Rock are down to 12 players, as Alec Hickman was already off. Hickman is now, it looks like, coming back on. I believe cards are 8 minutes in this tournament, or 5? Okay, apparently.
I think we prorate the yellows for 8
They're not
minutes.
10. We know they're not 10.
They're not 10. Yeah, now Newfoundlanders can't operate a 4-way stop, so a 4-way yellow, completely unmanageable.
Yeah, Costco. Yeah, that's right. Let's not go to the roundabout. Another story. Google that, those of you who are from away, and you'll find an interesting story.
Or don't.
Or don't, yeah.
Sloppy stuff here now. Ball on the ground. Penalty given to the Blizzard. I believe that ball was knocked forward at least twice.
Looks like there's some sideline communication there between the referee and one of the match officials.
Checking his watch.
Yeah, as we said, the injury break happened with about 50 minutes left. I know it's been slow here, but we must be near the end. It's almost 8:30 local. 30 minutes. They're bringing back in a
Hunter's
forward.
going to re-enter the game. I think you hear from one of the coaches, Kevin Prairie, wondering aloud as to what we're going to try to structure here. So that means bringing in someone for this scrummage. You want to have a full complement of forwards there available for the scrum.
If there was ever a time for the Blizzard to score, it would be now. Look, there are only 5 in the back line. And what do we got? 6 in the forwards. Time for the Blizzard to take this opportunity.
Yeah, you'll bring in someone else to substitute to play the wing forward position. Try to keep that scrum tight from the sides. The number 8 will assume the other flanker position.
Oh, look, the Rock are doing well without. Oh, penalty to the Blizzard. The Blizzard need to run this. They have a numerical advantage of 2. Create that overlap.
Some good confident tackling.
Oh,
stolen.
Well played by number 19, Zach Klassen. Nice steal. Some of these substitutes, Patty, are making a case for full-time inclusion here.
Maybe answering some of those depth questions.
Yeah, for sure. Klassen, again, he's been a big player in this game. Since he's come on, he's got to release that ball. That's, interesting call. Not much space there.
Shears runs. Well done to stay in the field of play.
Look at young Josh Blanks going in against a bigger man. Again, Klassen back in. Oh, that's not Klassen. That's number 18. Lee Brinkman, you mentioned him earlier. These guys, they'll want to score off this now. They'll want to end the game with a big exclamation mark saying, we're down 3 men and we can still put the ball in. Sending a message to Ontario if that happens. So careful there with that pass. They're going to do it. Wow. Number 15, Laurie Baldwin, he's had a game. That has to be the game. I cannot imagine we will continue after this. This makes the score 35-5. Rock playing very well, down to 12 players, managed to manufacture a score, missing a lot of their key starters, the ones you know, the Hickmans, the McCarthys, the Clarks. That's a great building moment for the team.
Oh, it's unfortunate Shears walking off with a knock. He's been holding on to his quad that you don't want to see a late in the game injury when nothing left to play for. They're going to leave him out there. That looks like a bit of a...
I think the match commissioner seems to be signaling we're near the end here. Hickman has returned to the field. I don't know if there will be any play after this. Convert, have to imagine the whistle will be blown as day 1 of the CRC winds down. Perhaps as expected, Ontario with a comprehensive win over Quebec. The Rock not quite as comprehensive, but still a strong win over the Blizzard. Blizzard look like a team to watch. They will only grow as the week goes on. Of course, tomorrow the Rock play Quebec at 7 o'clock, and the Blizzard play Ontario at 5:30. Convert is good. Oh, we're still playing. Wow.
Maybe I'm getting my vision loss at my old age here. Oh, someone's phoning me to tell the referee to blow the whistle. No, it's actually VOCM. I'll have to call them back.
Yeah, if you don't
This has
listen
gotta
to
be over
Patty
pretty
from
soon.
away, 590 VOCM, you get him on Open Line. Open Line tomorrow. He is the man, the talk show host with the most here in this province. Worth listening to. Oh, maybe you'll have a go at that referee tomorrow.
Maybe I will, because I'm finding it difficult to see. I certainly can't pick
Alec
out
Hickman
anybody's
with the
numbers.
offload. Now, again, now Shearer, as you say, he had that leg issue. Can he? No, it's not him.
No.
Not him.
That's the guy who came in to replace him.
They look like they want another score. The Rock are not quitting. Ooh, nice offload. Again, they are down to 13 players. It is near the end of the game. Hickman wants to redeem himself. Another little kick and chase. They want to get another score here. Tough game. Tackle by the Rock. A possession still with the Blizzard. They are realigned, looking for options. They have a lot out on the left there. Almost dark here. Not on your screen, but it is on the field. Oh, good play by number 22 of the Blizzard, picking up that ball, but a steal, a steal. Wow.
Some pretty determined play here.
They're not going to quit. Here's Hickman out. Oh. He'll be disappointed with that.
Yeah.
Number 24. Is that Evan McKenzie?
It is easy out there nursing a sore muscle of some
Number
variety.
24. It says it's Evan McKenzie.
You know you're going deep on the bench when the guy who you were trying to protect for some of the more meaningful matches later in the week is out there as part of 13 remaining Rock players on the pitch. Pretty impressive there. I know Hickman would have liked to have had another 5 or 6 feet on that pass to spring for yet another Rock try. What has been a ragged start, but ultimately a pretty solid performance, something to build on anyway.
37-5, a strong win, but they will see lots of areas for improvement. They'll have a little bit of time to figure out during the day tomorrow, but they will take back Quebec. Quebec will be out with a vengeance tomorrow. They will have something to prove, as Jamie Cudmore was mentioning earlier. Quebec are the current senior men's champions in this region. They will be wanting to atone for what happened earlier, and Newfoundland and Quebec always have, the Rock and Quebec always have good Donnybrooks when they do play against each other. Here we go again. I honestly, wow, how the game still continues. Garanik with the kick. No, sorry, that's the fly half. He's not looking to go for his whistle. Miko Verstad. Vargas, sorry. No, Vargas is the fullback. He is now out of the game. So it's getting hard to read the sheets. Never mind catch the ball. Mason throwing it in. A little off.
Very straight there.
Oh, it did go back. Blizzard still also give it to the Blizzard. They're continuing. They haven't buried their heads. That wasn't a little behind the back pass. Normally you don't see hookers think they're up to that, but good for him for giving it a go. Mason again. He's had a handy game. More dominant in the first than in the second half. Vernick wanting the ball, wants to get it out. They also want to make a mark. They want to let Ontario know they're not going to be a walkover when they play tomorrow. Ball out. Here we go. Oh, stolen by the Rock. You're the Rock. You got to put the thing out now. Josh Blanks with the ball, looking to create space. Again, they're still down 2 men, I believe. Yes.
Ben, how you doing? Still here. The game has dragged on, given what maybe a series of
Ball out. Josh Blanks gone again. Oh, nice run. Chalmers has had a good game. Here we go. Dean Arson. Oh, look at this. A prop on a breakaway in the dark. Can only happen in the dark. That's when you see props run away. It's getting sloppy. Mr. Ref, time to blow this game, I think. So, there, game blown up. The game is now over. The Atlantic Rock in the dark beat the Prairie Blizzard 37-5. They'll be happy with that start. I'm sure they would have liked a more comprehensive win. So after day one, Ontario and the Atlantic Rock tied with 1-0 records. The Blizzard 0-1, Quebec 0-1. Both the Rock and the Ontario have bonus points. They, of course, play Thursday, but each team have key games tomorrow. Though they will not want to get too far ahead of themselves. Great crowd here at the Sweilers Club in St. John's, Newfoundland. Wonderful turnout again. Remember, tomorrow's game's also being streamed live, 5:30 Newfoundland time, 7 o'clock Newfoundland time. All the games will be brought to you this week. On behalf of Patty Daly and everybody, want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you again to the Newfoundland and Labrador Rugby Union for their great job in hosting this event. Thank you to all of the sponsors, Marco, the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, Keith Bradbury Remax, Modern Business Equipment, and of course Gatherall's Puffin and Whale Watching Tour. Been a great pleasure being here. Great tournament, great competition. If you're in the province, come and watch it. If you are not, continue to tune in and take it in over the course of the week. For now, that's our coverage here at the Sweilers Complex in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. On behalf of Patty Daly, I'm Tim Powers. Thanks for watching.
Controlled aggression, so there's a lot on the line in day one, I think.